Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media, and today is this month's Fix Your Project stream. If you are new here or if you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, this is the show where I fix your projects. Patrons of the channel over on Patreon can submit project files for me to work on. This is a slightly different camera angle, similar to what I used to do. I just thought it'd be a little bit more interesting to see my keyboard and the side of my face than just my face in my kitchen. So let me know if you guys like this new layout here in the chat. And yeah, we're actually live right now from YouTube and Twitch. If you're tuning in on Twitch, welcome to the chat and welcome to the YouTube viewers as well. It's always good to see you guys. So to start things off here, let me switch over to my main visual. This is my desktop, and we're going to hop into some project files today that you submitted. We have 3 project files today from my patrons over on Discord. If you guys want to join my Discord server, make sure to go to discord.gg/JulianGray. Make a pledge over on Patreon. You can get some really awesome perks and cool roles as well. So we have 3 project files today. They are right here. We have Dustin Rosada. This is an Ableton 10 project called Rainbowing. We have Guard Data, Insert Your Feelings Here, and we have Momentum by, I'm unsure of who this is. I believe his name was Craig or Carl, I think it might have been. We're gonna check out all 3 of these today on the stream, and let's get this thing started. We're gonna start off with Ableton Live 10 because that's easy, and we're gonna get this thing going. As you can see, my cat Juno has now made an appearance. Hello, check, saying microphone volume low. I'm gonna turn up my microphone just a little bit for you so you can hear me a little bit better. Let me know if that's a little bit better, and let me know if it sounds all right. Okay, so we're gonna start off with Rainbowing in Live 10, as we just discussed. I have to open this with a version of Live 10. Let's go ahead and do that. Do I sound all right now? Haley, let me know in the chat if I do. For some reason, our chat is not working for Restream. There we are. Seems like we are now good. We are getting a lot of YouTube comments. If you're on Twitch and checking us out, make sure to leave me a comment as well so we know that we are actually live on Twitch. I believe we are. I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up and get this thing going. Oops, that was unintentional. Let me recenter that. Okay, so Ableton Live 10 is launching right now. It's on my second monitor. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing open. Maybe I can show it on my second screen here. Unfortunately, Live 10 hasn't been open for a while, so it's making me reauthorize all my licenses. Let me see if I can show that on the screen here, actually. What's going on here? I can. There we go. There we are. And here is Live 10. Welcome to Live 10. Ableton Live 10. I don't know why this is not snapping. There it goes. All right. This is Rainbowing by Dustin Rosada, our first track of the day. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Make sure that our audio is routed correctly first before we dive into this thing. And this should do it. Okay, and we just got to set the right thing. If you guys don't have this program and you're enabled, or you're on Mac, it is a lifesaver. It's one of the coolest and most useful programs for routing your audio. It's called Audio Hijack, and it's how I facilitate these streams. This is not sponsored by Audio Hijack or Rogue Amoeba, their company. I just love the program. I'm actually going to pull my Ableton window over a little bit here so that you're not getting cut off by the comment section. Cool. Let's go ahead and play this thing for the gallery, if you will, and we'll get this thing started. Does not seem to be getting audio. It's always something. It's always something. Let me go ahead and see if I can correct this audio. And yeah, this should do it. Restart. Try this. No. Appears that my OBS is not receiving audio, which is lovely. As usual, you always got something, some sort of problem. Let's go ahead and switch this over to 2 channel. Maybe this will help. Run. There we go. All right, we can start this thing over now and see how this gets along from there. The Mouse Kids on Twitch says hello, and so does Roxo. We've had you on Gradient Live. Apologies for butchering your name. I've never known how to properly pronounce it. All right, we're checking out Rainbowing by Dustin Rosada right now. My face. Don't know what you're getting at there. All right. So there's a few things here. Right off the bat, I think could use a little bit of work. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Span, which is a plugin for viewing the spectral balance of your song. So we're going to pull this up. I'm priceless. Ah ha 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 ha. Okay. I don't know what that means. Yeah, if we look at this over on Span, so your mix is a little bit strange right now. You have a lot of sub, you have a lot of like this upper mid, and you have a decent amount of high end, but you can see like these strange gaps. Like you have a gap here, looking at the 6 to 7 octave range. You have a bit of a gap here from 80 to about 200. It's seeming like you're missing a few octaves worth of bass down here at the low end. So if we can add in a bass line here from it looks like appears to be octave 2, as you can see here. Maybe to octave 3. We can fill out our low end a lot and then add a lot more life to this song. I don't know what Dill Beat is laughing about. My face is funny. All right, so the bass line is a little bit, again, too high. So I'm going to go ahead and group this, and we're going to take a look at an EQ here. And again, this is the region that we're lacking. Okay, that's really rude of you. I'm just gonna mute that guy. Don't know what he's on about. Timeout. There you go. You're muted for a bit, bud. All right, so with the baseline, let's go ahead and duplicate it, and we'll try to add a little bit of low end. I think this is what the track needs. So instead of using the Mini 3, or well, maybe we can actually use the Mini 3 that you already have in here. Let's go ahead and go for a lower octave on it, though. We'll go through 16, and we'll go for 16 on this one as well. Now, there's a lot of like conflicting like phasing going on here. Maybe we can turn off the oscillators here. Oh, we'll just turn them down. We'll just use the single oscillator, and then we'll go for, yeah, we'll keep it where it is. I'm not loving how this is sounding. A little bit better there, though. Let's remove the resonance. Okay, dude. I don't know, like, what what you're getting at. You're having, like, a great time. Rasco, I'm gonna make you a mod. So if you feel as though somebody can be removed, then you can. Actually, I'm not sure how to do that from here, so I'll just handle it this time. We have like a troll in the chat, so timeout. Okay. I wonder how old that dude is. So, trying to make use of your Mini here. I mean, it's really, it's not creating that low end that I'm after. I'm not overly familiar with the Arturia Mini V3. So I'm just gonna grab a different synth. Serum's the easiest one. Yeah, and we're just gonna drop it down an octave or two. So okay, maybe it's not actually the synth itself. I think you might have something on it that's diminishing the low end. I'm trying to determine what that is. We'll keep the V1 or the V3 rather. I'm not 100% sure why it's coming in so soft on the low end. Must be missing something here. Let me go ahead and just listen to the low end, and we'll use Serum again just because I'm more familiar with it. But I think that just patching up that bottom is going to help this a lot. You know what it is? I think we're pushing the limiter a bit too much. Or something. Are you grouping this into another limiter or something? Dustin, I would like the answers. Because this is coming out very flat. Like as if you're sending this somewhere else and then... yeah. Well, nevertheless... even based on what we just added, it fills out the bottom end a ton when you have that. K-I-L-O-T, Kylots play a game. I said your music was great and you timed me? I don't know what that means, but I appreciate you saying that. You're just, are you the one who is just trolling? Because this is all recorded. Yeah, I timed out the one that was trolling. Okay. Anyhow, sorry for being distracted by this guy on Twitch. Thank you for all the comments. No limiter besides on the master. Cool. Hold on, I'm going to the chat, the group chat. Sorry, I was paying attention too much to the Twitch chat. On YouTube, we have let's see. No limiter besides master. What up, Julian? Good to see you. Got an interesting drill project in Ableton if you want to fix it. Yeah, if you want to submit a project for the next stream, we actually collect the project files for these streams ahead of the time. I do these on the second to last Saturday of every month. Next month, I'm actually pushing it to the second Saturday of the month, just because I have something really special planned for the end of May. And yeah, so if you want to submit next month, go over to patreon.com/JulianGray, and you can check out how to submit your project files. But anyway, let's get back to this. No distractions anymore. So you can hear like how much just adding that low octave adds to a record. A lot more body in the low end. Let's go ahead and open up Span again. Yeah, we can visually see a frequency kind of open up right here at the second octave when I engage this channel. Probably even use a little bit more. What I'm actually going to do is compare our bass with our kick. I think that the relationship with the kick and the bass is the most important, crucial thing to your mix. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that. Let's make sure our kick is like leading the charge. Make it the loudest element. This is kind of a weird shape on your kick that you have on this EQ. I'm just going to, if you're going to do a mid cut, don't do it at like 100 or 300 hertz. Do it like at like 1K or like 600. I also don't think it needs the high pass. Ableton is hard to learn. Do you record stuff or just produce? I do a bit of both. Most of it is recorded. Or I'm sorry, most of it is just production done in the box, and then I do a lot of it. Do a lot of it in the box, and then I record a few things like vocals or sound effects and that sort of thing. So the bass is a little bit. I think it's just conflicting because of a lack of sidechain. So what I'll do is I'll just copy the sidechain to the bass channel that we've just made with both of the basses together, and maybe we can, if we dial in this sidechain a bit, we can, fix up the relationship between them, and then we can make it a little bit tighter. So here's the bases. I'm going to go ahead and set an EQ on for the kick. We're going to high pass, and we're going to listen for only the click of the kick. That's your little transient on the front instead of the whole sine wave of the kick. Then we're going to set the attack to 0. We're going to set the ratio up to like 3:1, which is a pretty substantial cut. And then I'm going to set the threshold all the way down for the time being and see how that sounds. So it's obviously too much. What we'll do is we'll pull off on the threshold. Maybe give it a little bit more release time. Now, as you can hear, it's coming through nicely. Go ahead and see if I can listen to this through. Okay, that's fine. So, see how the relationship between the bass and the kick are now much more solid. Let me go ahead and give it a decibel or two more too. That's a bit too much. It's sounding all right. And an important thing to look at is on your limiter on your master, you want to make sure that your kick is kind of punching maybe 5 decibels louder than your bass. You can crunch a little bit of the transients on like a kick drum, but you don't want your bass and your kick to be the same volume. If your kick and your bass are the same volume up at the top, then you're going to run into a lot of conflict, and your kick's just not going to punch through in the same way. So you'll probably want your kick to be louder and maybe crush a little bit off the top of it with your limiter. Something along these lines. Sounding pretty good. That bass sound that you're using in V3 is just a little it's got this phase problem to it. I think it might just be a oscillator tuning thing. Let me go ahead and pull that up. So you have 2 oscillators here, both that actually, you have them at separate octaves. I'm just going to set all of these to 16. Maybe one of them to be 6 or 8. This is your, I think it's a modulation oscillator. No, that's still an oscillator. I got audio. What I'm going to do is try to separate this one from this one because they are the same. Now I'm going to give this a little bit of a fine tune, so you end up with a little bit of a nuance between the two so that it doesn't phase anymore. Don't want it to be a full semitone. It's not great, but it's better. Now, the one issue I have with this is that you can't, well, this is based on a monosynth, so there's no way to inherently pan the 2 oscillators, but generally if I'm using like Serum or a more modern digital synth that's not analog modeling, I'll pan each oscillator slightly. So my oscillator 2 will be to the right, my oscillator 1 will be to the left, and it stereo separates it a bit. Keeps it a little bit separate in your stereo field, so you don't end up with this phase thing. If we just turn off oscillator 2, it might actually eliminate the problem too. Yeah, you end up with that phase thing when you have the 2 oscillators doing the same thing at the same volume. Maybe you don't need the oscillator 2. Let's turn up this bass as well. A way to do unison on this. I don't know how to do it. I'm not overly familiar with this plugin. I don't use it very much, but I think it does sound a little bit better now. So, you know, it's not a perfect mix now, but the bass and the kick relationship, fixing that helped a lot, I think, with, you know, some of the issues we were having. That bass sound design is just not incredible. Maybe we can make it more plucked, like if we did like a filter movement or something, like a contour. Second one's not even working. I don't know why I'm even bothering. Trying to make a more interesting sound here. It's a little bit boring. So emphasis is the resonance, obviously. I don't want to spend too much time on this, just learning the synth, but I think that's a little better. So then the other thing is, like, the lead is so dull. It doesn't punch at all. So that's like your main, surely. I don't have an M1. I don't have your M1 plugin, rather. So I'm just going to use what we've got. I'm going to take an EQ and try to sharpen this up a bit. Maximize the amount of high end, readjust the balance. This is essentially, we're not trying to boost as much as we're trying to reassign the balance between the low and the high. Right now, the low mid is like the priority of the mix. I'm trying to adjust it so that the high end at least is right there with it. And then, you know, this is inadvertently adding a few decibels of gain because we're boosting by, what is that, 4 decibels up there. But, you know, not the end of the world. I think it sounds fine, and turning it up helps again. So this is the brightest one for sure. So I'm gonna actually give this a few decibels of gain. Don't want to touch it here because this is already at 0. I'm gonna give it gain with a gain utility. Do you have a Novation keyboard? I actually use an M Audio keyboard. You actually don't see it very much because I have it on a key stand under here. I use it from time to time if I'm writing. I don't generally pull it out for just general production stuff. I more pull it out if I'm trying to do like a piano-centric writing session. Yeah, I don't have a Novation keyboard. I used to. I just didn't find I needed it. Now I use the Ableton Push here, and I use a keyboard. So back to what I was saying. I'm just trying to brighten up this harp a bit. This could probably be applied to the other brighter leads too, like this piano. Like, these are very dull. And the only way I can do that is grouping. But yeah, they're just a little bit on the dull side. Adding a little bit of high end really does help. we need to really set our priorities. So like the ones that are really loud should not be the ones that are like subtle, you know? Same for this one with the side chain. It's just not there. So what I'll do is I'll grab the high end only of the kick. We'll pull this down, maybe like try like a 4 or 5 to 1, immediate attack time, and a little bit of release time. To me, that's sounding a little bit better, at least. It's not a perfect mix, but I'm not going to work on this for, an hour. Sounding better. I think that if I had like a suggestion to you, make sure that you're filling in all of your octaves. You don't want that low mid to be empty at any point. It's just a very important frequency range, and if you don't have anything there, then it becomes very empty. And then also, if your kick is not punching enough, just make sure it's loud enough, and make sure that the bass is really ducking out of the way whenever it's playing, so that you really have that kick as your dominant force. When you're listening to electronic music like this, or house music or progressive or whatever, you're always kind of listening for the kick to come in. You want that kick to be like the most important thing of the mix. So definitely make sure that your kick is the loudest element. So that's Rainbowing by Dustin Rosada. Sorry for all the distraction there in the beginning. We had a troll in the chat. It's always distracting when you have somebody talking trash. Okay, so that's Dustin Rosada, Rainbowing. Everybody in the chat on both Twitch and YouTube, give him a round of applause. Really, really awesome, and it sounds great. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is going to be, let's see, guard data. Let's go ahead and remove this. This is guard data, insert your feelings here. Yep, of course. It's always great working on your stuff. You have a really good musical sensibility, and I love that. I don't remember which Ableton that guard data uses, but we're going to go with Ableton Live 10 and see if it loads before we move up to 11. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, so sure enough, this is a Live 10 project. It's a good thing that I did open it in Live 10 instead of 11. All right, this is Insert Your Feelings Here by Guard Data, and he is a really cool producer, student of mine. This is gonna be good. the record, the siren is not in there. That is outside of my house. Okay, so really, really cool. There's a few things I noticed right off the bat that need addressing. I think the intro is entirely in 2 different keys. You have 2 separate parts. I want to address that before we do anything. Like that is it's got a key to it. Maybe it's another element actually. Yeah, it starts in the wrong key, I think. So you have 2 things up there, I think. This one especially. Okay. Taking it up 1 semitone fixed it. It was just flat by a semitone. It was at the wrong scale. No harm done. Fixed it. Let's do that for this one too, because it seems to be in the same key. We're in the right key now, which is good. Ideal to always be in the right key. So I think when you hit here, you have like a ghost kick going or something. And it should not be there. Like, you should not have that side chain engaged for this part. So it's like... I just want to check the key on these ones too. I think you might have had something out of the right key. Now it is correct. But first I'm going to hit warp so it doesn't destroy our placement. Maybe -1 on that one, I believe. That one doesn't really fall between a key. It's like, it doesn't fall on a key, it's like in between. Kind of nice where it was. These definitely need to be fixed, but let's hear it in context again. Black hole, which I know is his like go-to delay, so there's no way for me to check that. I don't know if he was actually using it though. I think if you did a cool delay automation here, it could be really nice, like something along these lines where you have it set to like 2 and you did something like this. Something like that, just to add a little bit of movement, could be cool. Okay, so that's everything in the intro part. that addresses that stuff. I think that the bigger issue is in the drop itself. It doesn't have a lot of like energy. I think the kick is kind of getting eaten by the bass sound. One thing I noticed right off the bat was this bass is kind of leaning right for some reason. I don't know why. Check out Serum, see what's going on here. An effect or something? Panning it? Maybe an effect enabled thing. It's just very peculiar. It's like leaning hard right. Oh, okay, so it's mono. It's only coming from the right. I wonder if that's intentional. You see, if you look on the thing, it's only coming out of the right side. It's a little mind-boggling how that happened. You don't have anything panned. Your mono is set. Weird that it's on the right side, but what we can do is just put a utility and then separate, or I'm sorry, just set the utility to mono, so you have your mono bass. Immediately better. Setting, I mean, it's in the middle now. It's no longer like panned to one side. Your sidechain is good. I think that the bigger issue is that your kick is quiet. So let's go ahead and go on your kick. Yeah, and just turn that up like 4 decibels or something. Something like that. I mean, this is techno after all, so you need it to be like kick first. Yep, Haley, I'm already on it. Strengthen the kick. That's the first thing I'm doing. Tempted to go like this hot. I don't know if it's too much though. Coming in really hot on the master. What I'll do is turn everything down first. I just don't want it to clip. We'll select everything and pull it down maybe like 4. So we give ourselves a little bit more headroom, and then we can turn up things accordingly. So what I'll do is I'll reset this to 0, and then I'll turn these down individually. So we have a little bit more control over the group. Is there anything on the drum set group? Okay, the drum bus. This is definitely what's adding the low end kick. I would put this on the kick instead of the actual bus. Kind of diminishing the transients on the other elements. Maybe we can, let's just actually move the kick out of the group. And maybe the other elements we can have a drum bus as well. Just make it less boomy. Focus on the crunch. Set the dampening all the way up. Set boom to 0, try to make these brighter and make our kick, maintain that same level of boom. Let's go ahead and set this to 0 or -1 or something. Yeah. I still believe these are a little bit too dull. I'm just going to take an EQ for the lack of, time. Just add a little bit of high end to the whole drum kit. I think just by prioritizing the high end, we'll make these punch through more, give it more crunch. The hat's a little loud now. Let's go ahead and put the bass back in. So relatively speaking now, the bass is really quiet. And that's because I've turned up the drum kit. I'm going to turn this down a little. Now, it can be hard to set things down. Like you always feel inclined to turn things up. You never want to turn things down. So to play over that mental hurdle, what you can do is just turn the master up for monitoring reasons. If you have the headroom to do so. I'm going to go ahead and set the threshold a little lower so we're actually hitting the limiter. You really do have to set the the attack later so that you don't completely obliterate your clap. Let's put that in the mix now. Techno kick, but it still needs a little bit of room between the transients. You're just kind of just balls to the wall the whole time. Set the kick all the way up now that we've shortened the transient, and put it with the bass. Yeah, definitely better now. Is so like low end centric that it's not going to translate on everything. Maybe we can add a little bit of mids around here. Get a little bit more of a translate on smaller speakers. ARP thing is really loud. Love how dramatic you've made this break. See, it's so satisfying. Same thing with delay here. needs a little bit more length towards here. Well, yeah, I don't know why you've created all this empty space up front. It's kind of strange, but I think the song is 2.5 minutes or less right now. So you probably need about another minute at least. I would just try to extend this dropout and then do a outro kind of thing. But it's really sounding good, man. I love this one. This is Guard Data, Insert Your Feelings Here. It's one of my favorites of the day so far. And yeah, really solid work. If you're in the chat, everybody give him a round of applause. I don't know if he's actually in the chat right now, but he will watch the after video and appreciate it, I'm sure. All right, so we have one more project for today. This is complete. I think we got to move over to Ableton Live 11 for this next one, but first I'm actually going to try it in 10 just to see if it does indeed work. Never know with these project files. I only ask you guys, if you submit project files in the future, try to annotate which version of Ableton you use, because you know, I sometimes get projects in 10, sometimes in 11, and it becomes hard to manage and figure out which one is which if I'm switching between them. So let's go open in 10 first, and if it doesn't work, we'll move to 11. How about that? Okay, so this is in fact an 11 project, and this is why I want y'all to annotate them. Okay. Like my water. Make sure to hydrate. Hydration is important. All right, so we are switching to 11 now. And we're gonna get this thing going. So I'm missing one of your frozen samples, but that should be okay. We don't necessarily need that. Okay, this is Momentum version 3 by, I don't know who this is by. Let me double check really quick on our actual form. Again, put your project name or your alias name in the actual project name, project title, so I know. This is Carl Stevens Ghost Pepper Intergalactic on Discord. And this is his project file, Momentum. Go ahead and get this thing going. If it will, in fact, there it goes. This is sounding in full. Let's see if searching helps. Really beautifully written musically. Makes me wonder if this was actually just recorded live, because it seems like you have full takes. Like stuff is not looped at all. You have full takes of audio for every single track. So short of like making stems and then re-importing them, this seems to me like this is live. Maybe some of these are copied, like the effects and stuff. If so, and this was recorded live, excellent work, man. I mean, it sounds really, really great for what it is. One thing I would say, just as a critique for you in your workflow when you're recording and when you're working with a session like this, is I would try to strip silence as much as you can. There's a feature in Pro Tools called Strip Silence where it gets its name. But if you remove the clips that are completely silent, you're gonna lighten up your project a lot. So like, for example, if you have these big chunks of time that are just completely silent, you're actually playing back audio when you're playing silence, regardless of if you're playing regardless if you're playing back a piece of audio or not, your computer's still thinking the same because it is playing back something. So just stripping silence is one thing I would really try to do. You limit your CPU headroom, and it also makes it really easy to see like what's going on where. The reason I'm doing it here is just so I can tell, what's happening where. Because right now you have a lot of like silence that just does not have anything in it, and it's hard to identify like what's going on where. So one critique to you, I think it would improve your workflow a lot and probably speed up your process a bit. So let's go ahead and remove this stuff. And obviously, if you're recording this live, of course, you're going to have silence. So that's probably what happened. That's not a bad thing. Recording live is really admirable. I wish I had the musical ability to play everything in like that. So some of these samples are unfortunately missing. So I don't know to what extent I'm going to be able to fix this project. But based on what we do have, there's a few things I was hearing. Aside from the stripping of silence, which I think is a really good technique that you should probably start to employ, the overall mix balance is all right. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. You don't have major issues, but I think that in a genre like this, you want your percussion to be a little bit more forward than it is right now. It feels a little bit buried in the background. Trying to identify where your core percussion is. I guess this is your kick. Yeah, Seth in the chat, Seth Mathis mentioned a very good point as well, in that if you are using audio that's completely silent like this, and you have like, let's say, an audio effect on it, like you have an amp or you have like a distortion, the silent signal is still getting sent through the distortion. So there's a possibility you end up with this very low hum. It's the equivalent of putting like, very, very small amount of signal through like an amp and then coming back out. You're going to end up with some weird issues. And it just compounds and compounds, and you end up with more noise. But yeah, I was just working on maybe bringing your percussion forward a little bit, notably your bass drum, your kick drum. You want that backing beat to be heard throughout the record. You don't want it to get lost. And I think right now it is. So I just turned it up by about 5 decibels on a group right here. So your kick is now like in the forefront. And again, I can't hear your congas or anything like that, and I can't hear your shakers, but I would imagine that you're probably running into the same thing there too. I would say bring those up in volume. That there's like some like toms or something around here. I think it might be, let's see, yeah, you have like a drum kit mic or something. You also have a lot of channels and not a lot of it is labeled. I would try to group things a little bit more. So that is literally just your kick. That is like the sine wave of the kick. So there's a top kick in there too somewhere. I have no idea where, but I'm hearing it like there's the rest of the drum kit, and that part is a little bit on the quiet side. Let me unsolo that and see if we can hunt it down. There it is. Drum stem, yeah. So did you track this? I'm assuming, I'm talking to nobody because, oh, there it is. Carl. Hi. Yeah, so Carl, some of your samples didn't get through, and I'm just giving, basic insight on the things that I can because the whole track didn't get through. It appears to me that, and also you can rewatch the live stream if you wanted to see my entire comments on this record, but yeah, really, really beautiful writing. I admire the fact that it's recorded in. I'm just giving you some mix critiques and then project critiques that will improve, your sonics, and then also like improve your performance in Ableton. Currently, I was looking at the drum set. Okay, I can turn up my microphone. It's fine. Let me do that. Here you go. Check, 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 check. Let me know if that's a little bit better. I can also turn it up in OBS so that you get, a little bit louder there. I'll turn down the music as well, just a little bit. That should be better. Yeah, so again, I'm not going to reiterate, but one of the main things is making sure you're stripping your silence. So like if you have like clips like this that are just completely silent for a long period of time, you're both wasting CPU and you're, potentially adding noise, especially if you're using effects on your instruments. So definitely delete silence that you're not using. It's just going to waste your CPU. Okay, so I was on the drums right now, and I believe the drums were recorded all in one big cluster. That's what it appears to sound like. Carl, if you could elaborate how this was recorded, that would be helpful. But because you only have one big cluster of drums, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to try to EQ individual elements here. So if you say found that your hi-hat is a little too dull, or if you found your snare a little too loud relative in the mix, if you print it all out like this right into your timeline, you can't go in and adjust how that hi-hat sounds or how that snare sounds or how the kick sounds. Right now, my gut, after we've boosted this low kick, is to accentuate the high end of the kick to correspond with it. But unfortunately, because this drum kit was all recorded in one big go, it's difficult to adjust the kick on its own. Okay, Carl says it was recorded on a 12 mic setup, already mixed into a single stem, but I have the full recording. Cool. That means you can make any adjustments that I would suggest. So I basically turned up your kick a little bit, or the bottom end of your kick, I guess. This is probably either generated or some sort of EQ to get it that low. It doesn't sound organic to me. And yeah, make sure you're turning this up in correspondence with the other kick. But I think that the other kick just gets a little lost against those toms. The toms feel really loud in that mix. They're boomy too. They're lingering a bit too long. If you can tighten up the toms, I feel like that would make this a lot easier. Because right now, if we actually looked at the EQ, you have a lot of movement here. And that's where your toms are, and I think it's a bit distracting. I mean, as a band-aid, we might be able to do something like this. Put it with our other kick. Oh, and I actually mentioned earlier, and I'm curious, what are some of your influences on this record? It's really interesting. Who are some of your favorite artists? That might be a little too loud on the bottom. My overarching critique of this was that the percussion in general is a little quiet relative to everything else. Notably, the kick just wasn't there. Didn't have that backing beat that it needed, I thought. But other than the toms being a little too loud in that sum, and also just the drums being too quiet in general, I think that the percussion mix is good. I'm going to go ahead, instead of turning up the drums, because we're kind of running low on headroom here. I'm just going to turn everything else down just a slight bit. I don't know how your conga or your shaker sound because it didn't translate, but your actual kick, where is that? Where did it go? Is it this one? No, that's your drum kit. Yeah, we can deselect that. Deselect that. We're going to turn everything else down 2 decibels, maybe 3. So we can really give those drums some headroom. I gotta say, Carl, this is one of the coolest submissions I've ever seen on this program I do. I don't get a lot of recorded music, so it's really fun to hear it. Oh no, so it appears like you've automated the volume, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that method that I just did. I generally like to leave my faders free so that I can make a quick mix adjustment without having to worry about moving automation lines all the time. So one thing I like to do is, instead of automating my fader, I put a utility and I automate the gain here. So you can actually set your volumes here and keep that fader free so that you can make more general overarching changes. So that might be a good thing to consider in the future, instead of doing all the adjustments on a channel by channel. So I can't make that adjustment I was trying to do, to turn everything down. I think that would be too cumbersome with all of these volume automations. But what I will do is turn down the things that are really loud, or maybe we can just turn up the drums. That's fine. See, what I don't want to do is hit the limiter. Don't want to hit the max there, but maybe we can push it like a decibel or two higher. Get away with that. So the drums are out in the front a bit more. Is that you on the drums as well? Absolutely love that. Seth Mathis, what Julian said about using the inline utility for gain settings and automation over the channel fader is the best way to go about it. And it all boils down to one simple reason. My reason is, again, I can't, if I'm working on a mix, I want to eliminate hurdles, right? Like I don't want to have something in my way from making the change that I'm thinking in my mind. I want to be as true to my ear and my vision as possible. So like, let's say that I'm listening to my mix and I hear like a lead synth that I'm like, this is too loud. But I've already pre-programmed all of this automation here. So it's like, in order for me to turn this down, I have to go to the section of the song and then drag that line down. But then maybe like this line is the same as it is here. So then it's like, well, if I turn it down here, I have to turn it down here and then here and then here. And it becomes very cumbersome. So what I like to do is just, again, do any like automation like this on a separate utility so that, you know, I have the freedom to move this fader whenever I want. So I can make like a generalized, like, that's 2 decibels too loud, let me pull that down as I'm listening adjustment without having to deal with the movement. I used to do this way. This is just, it became very cumbersome, and it's a very easy fix. Adam Alessi on drums. Sounds very cool. He's a great drummer. God, if that's like recorded in. So I'm still standing by this, like the drums are too quiet relative to everything else. I don't want to keep pushing it because, you know, we're just going to hit the ceiling. But for the sake of time, I'm going to break a rule here and just go over the line and make the drum the loudest thing. I think that will help this a lot. And then in your drum mix, just make sure your hi-hats are, you know, priority of the hi-hat is the high end. And do that just by giving them, like, you know, a little bit of boost in the highs. With EQ, you're not actually boosting or reducing anything. You're really just adjusting the balance. And when you're quote unquote boosting the high end, what you're really doing is you're turning down the low end at the same time. You just, you know, this is the same as reducing the low end. It's just plus 10 decibels or whatever. It's like the net volume increase. So make sure that you're boosting the highs, maybe on your hi-hats, maybe your snare. You just want those really sparkly bits to really be sparkly and not let them be MIDI and muddy. Make sure that the highs are the priority, I should say, and that the high frequencies are the loudest of the snare and the hi-hat. I'm going to do it on a stem level here, or a sum like bus level here, because we don't have the individual layers. But if I were you, I would go in the hi-hats and try to give them a little nudge, and then the toms pull them down a little bit, and then the snare, give it a little bit of high end too. Yeah, so that drum in the front is great, much better than having it buried in the back. I think for context, what I can show you is like the difference. If I was to go to the drum track, and I think this was at like -2 or something. If I was to just mute the utility, you can hear. Yeah, bringing the drums to the front really adds a lot of energy to the song. It gives it a lot of life because we're creating a priority. You get a very flat mix, which is, it's not a bad thing. This mix is fine. It's just like, if we want it to be more interesting and we want the listener's ear to grab one element you want to really pull that forward. I think the drum is like really integral to that. Maybe not that much, like 5 or something. And you probably want to go through these and kind of follow a similar rule, like the most important element at any given time could be a little bit louder. So like this lead, for example. So if we're listening right here, like to me, the most important piece is the cello, right? So like, I feel like that could be louder and brighter potentially there, or something like that. I'm gonna take a look at your master really quickly here. Go into Ozone and see what you've got going on here. Let's see what you're doing for your master. So I noticed that we're not really hitting the limiter. We're, you know, every so often you have one transient that kind of clips over it a little bit, but we're not really limiting the whole song. So you're losing out on a lot of potential volume here and a lot of potential fullness. So I'm gonna drag your threshold down until we find that place of distortion. We don't want it to distort, but we want it to be as loud as we can before it does. So. Clearly this is too much, but we don't want it to be so high that we're not getting any. Somewhere in this like 4 or 5 range. Quite nice. Yep. And then one other thing we can do is we can pull up this plugin called Span. It's a free plugin. Again, we discussed it earlier in this video, but I know you weren't on here. This is a spectral analyzer, and we can actually look at the balance of the, you know, of how everything is sounding. What genre is this? Sounds like some kind of electronic jazz. That is a good question. How would you describe this, Carl? So you can see here, you have a lot of highs and you have a lot of lows, but you don't have a ton of mids. And I think the fullness of your record is here. So I would try to find the elements that are, you know, quiet here and turn those up and trying to build like a more or less flat line will really make the fullness come out. I think right now you've got a lot of crunch. You got a lot of shiny things, but you don't have a lot of like low mid. Like think like a rhythm guitar. You have a lot of like lead stuff. Oh, okay. Carl says, seems like the horns didn't come through. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, because of those elements that didn't come through, I guess I can't give a proper assessment, but I would love to hear like the bounce of this if you have it available, just to hear how the whole thing sounds together. But other than that, I mean, yeah. I would, again, this is just general rules of thumb because I can't really do that work without those samples. Just make sure that your thing's straight across. You don't want a shape like this, like a U-shaped smiley face kind of thing is a little bit, you know, lacking in your mids. You generally want it to be as neutral as possible, maybe with a slight, you know, downward tilt from either the top or bottom, depending on the genre. You know, something as subtle as this or this. You don't want it to be like a big gap here in the mids. So if you have a bounce, I would love to hear and play for everybody what this sounds like with everything engaged. But other than that, I don't know to what extent I can work on this further. I don't really have much of your stuff. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Ratty. RVDY. I'm assuming that it's like maybe it's Rudy. He says, it's actually good because it shows that you are not following the rules to achieve a certain genre. You are not generic. Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think that your sense of doing something different and doing something out of the ordinary is really cool. I love that this is not regular, you know. You know, if some of these elements here could probably be like, you know, given a little bit of space with something like a reverb or something like that. I don't want to adjust the vision of the record too much. Like doing this can really shift the palette, but you know, I think like a small room reverb could really add to some of these elements and make them feel more like alive. Just a little bit of resonance, you know? Was this performed or was this recorded as well? Or I'm sorry, was this performed and recorded or was it programmed? I'm just curious. It sounds good. Sounds really good. Okay. Do you have like another bass in here too that isn't coming through? Because it's lacking like low end throughout the song, and I'm assuming that's probably like a plugin I don't have or something. If you have a bounce, again, you can send it my way and we can play it on the stream right now. If you can get it to me in the next few minutes. Would that be Discord or what have you? Really cool melody though. Like the writing is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I there's not really much I can add to this one because, again, we really don't have all the pieces, and I don't want to make changes that would undermine what you're trying to do. Okay, so Rudy says, or I'm sorry, Carl says, I'll try to do that. Yeah, if you can bounce out in the next 5 minutes or something, we'll take a look at it and actually listen to the whole thing. In the meantime, let me go ahead and switch to my webcam. And, oops, let's do this. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Yeah, so in the meantime, while we wait for him to try to submit the actual bounce of the record, I'll sit here and answer some of your questions for a few minutes, and we'll wait for him to come back to us. Carl, do you have it bounced, or are you going to bounce it out? Because I don't want to be here for too long. We got through all 3 of the projects today. We're waiting on Carl to get us the final version of his one so we can hear what it sounded like with all of the pieces. I think that'll be very illuminating. If you want to submit a project file for next time, or for next month, I should say, go ahead over to patreon.com/JulianGray, and you can find out more information there on how to get your project file submitted to a stream like this. I do these every month, the 3rd Saturday of the month. This next Saturday, I'm actually going to do it on the 2nd Saturday because I have a really special project coming up that you guys are really going to be hyped for. I'm excited to get it out, but that's coming at the very end of May, so I don't want to interfere too much with that. So this stream next month will be the 2nd Saturday of May. Also, if you're a patron of the channel and you are on Discord, we are doing a Discord meetup call today after this live stream at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We might start it a little bit earlier if everybody's coming out of this call and just wants to hop in. But it's an opportunity to get together with your fellow students and other community members of the channel. It also lets you communicate with me and other artists that decide to hop into the chat. We have some really awesome people in the community. And you can check that out at discord.gg/JulianGray. And people who are patrons of the channel or of me in general can hop in calls like that. So Carl, we were waiting on that sound to come through. Hopefully it does. Yes, sir. Hopefully it does. If you don't have it bounced, I'm going to end this in the next minute or so. Because, yeah, we're just sitting here communicating. Julian, can you come up with a 10-minute challenge for us to write and create a piece just like you did? I think that would be fun. Yeah, Haley, I actually anticipate for my next 10-minute challenge, I'm going to actually start this thing where for part of the challenge and part of the video will be actually reacting to the last week's challenge. And also for every challenge that I do, I'm going to do a thing where the community can do the same challenge and I'll react to their entries of the challenge on my most recent challenge video. So I have another one coming up actually probably in about a week or so. And it's really exciting. It's actually a video about me writing a song with no sound on, so no speakers or headphones in 10 minutes. Craziest, stupidest music challenge I've ever done. And that should be coming out relatively soon. And I would love to see the community do it too. So yeah, I'm going to try to make that a point to do that in upcoming challenge videos. Let's see, guys. Still waiting on that thing. Carl, if you don't send it soon, I'm just going to head out of here. You can send it to me over Discord or what have you. Carl, are you still in the chat? Oh, he says, I do. I'll have it in just a minute. So we're just going to keep killing time until Carl sends it. Just webcam. Boom. I'm back. You guys want to see some cool stuff I've gotten over the years while we're sitting around? Can you see it? Where did you send it? Tell me where you sent it. I don't see it in YouTube. Can you send it over something specific? Like, tell me where you send it, and I'll check it. Maybe Twitter or something. Carl, put the link in chat. No, I don't see it. Does not work. Just go ahead and send it to me on something else. Unfortunately, yeah, there's no other easier way to do it. I don't think that you can include links in chat. Yeah. Nope, doesn't look like it. Go ahead and send it somewhere else. While we're here, guys, you guys can feel free to ask me any questions that you have about production or music or my music. And when we get this link, we'll check it out. But in the meantime, yeah, here's some cool stuff I've gotten from my fans over the years. This is a Julian Gray. just trying to kill some time. Julian Gray, I don't know what these are called actually, where you flatten it. Here's a colorized keychain from Enhanced. Let's see. Mickey from Fantasia. Still waiting on Carl. Carl, come on, man. Dead Mouse. We're running out of things to check out. And this is the real killer, the Julian Gray pop vinyl, which is incredible. When I had blue hair, which I need to re-get. That's all I got. I have, oh yeah, guys, if you want a Julian Gray sticker, they are now available. I will put the link in the chat. They are holographic and they're cool. This is me attempting to kill time. I don't think this is going to happen. Carl, I think I'm just going to call it a stream, and I will check out your project in my own time. Will not waste everybody else's time. And we will maybe see you next month and submit the same project. Hopefully we can get the samples working next time. And yeah, get everything together. So awesome, guys. This has been a really cool stream. As usual, I always love Fix Your Project. These are really fun to do and work on your project files every month. If you guys, again, want to submit a project file for next month, go over to patreon.com/JulianGray to learn more information about how to submit your project files, as well as get some really awesome stuff, project file downloads from my videos, tools for creative process like presets and samples and that sort of thing. And then also, you're just supporting me and you can download my music as well. So go over there and check it out. Oh, he just sent it through Patreon. Let's see if we can check it out really fast. This should work, everyone. He sent the link there. Let's go ahead and check it. If it will load. There it is, Carl Stevens. Awesome. So we can check out this right before we get off. Great timing, Carl. Let's go and check it out. And then we're going to call this a wrap. So you go ahead and make sure we play it. I'm going to go back to main visual. And we will route our Google Chrome through. All right, let's check this out. Great ending, Carl. Already sounds fuller, and I don't even know if that's just placebo. Yeah, so a lot of my critique still stands. The bass is a little bit more full, I think. Again, it might be placebo. The drums are too quiet. I like the top elements. They're very shiny. It doesn't have like a meaty like midsection. It needs like something that's filling the mids. It feels like it's building up to something, but it doesn't ever get there. It feels like a pre-chorus and like there's like a missing element. You need that final element. Nice. I think we get the gist of the record. I'm gonna skip towards the end. Because we are listening mostly for the mix. Yeah, same critiques as before. I think it just needs some more drum volume, especially on the higher stuff. need something to fill it out a bit more. And yeah, make sure that you're setting priorities. There's a lot going on, and just making sure certain things are the main priority, and then the other stuff is not, just by setting volume and high end. But yeah, anyway, great record, man. And great record, everybody who submitted today. Thank you again for tuning in if you are just tuning in to watch. I have a lot of cool videos coming up in the very near future, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And if you're over on Twitch, I would appreciate any subs or what have you that you're willing to give. Thank you for tuning in today. I will see you guys in the next Fix Your Project stream, which will be the second Saturday of May. Sounds like a lot of fun, and thank you to everyone who submitted today and let me really critique your stuff. I know how much that takes to put your heart on your sleeve like that. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in next month's stream. I will talk to you guys later. And for those patrons who want to join the call, I will literally talk to you guys later at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I will see you guys in Discord, and I will see the rest of you in the next video. Bye-bye.